In this episode of Let's Get Cooking, it's Spanakopita. Ooh, fluffy, not fluffy, but crispy phyllo dough pastry wrapped around some beautiful cheeses and spices and a few veg. Let's get cooking. I can't wait for this one.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Let's Get Cooking. This afternoon, it's going to be Spanakopita, and this is President's Choice phyllo dough. You didn't think I was going to make my own phyllo dough, did you? No, you can buy this frozen, and it's just too convenient. So we're going to go with that. I'm going to fry up a couple of onions. I have some spinach that I'm going to mix in with those onions as they're frying. And then we're going to put it all together. Underneath the stamp cloth, we've got the phyllo dough hidden. Phyllo dough, you tell me. All right, so we're going to start by dicing up some onions. Now let's see if these ones are good, because I actually had to run through several in the bag that were anything but good. But I think these ones are. As I'm talking, Arlene is trying to sneak underneath the camera.
Now she's giving you a look.
Now she's giving me a look.
There you go.
She doesn't want anything to do with this. Having said that, she cleaned the workspace. So that would at least look nice and tidy as we started. It's not to say that it is ever really a mess. I can't say that, right? It's also my responsibility, not just hers. Anyways, that was her contribution to helping out towards the show today. And it's a good contribution. We went shopping a little earlier. I ran into the grocery store because we had Sydney in the car with us, and it's too hot to leave him alone. And on my way out, this is Zare's up in Keswick, I grabbed one donut. Arlene's version of my cheating on her is when I have some sort of pastry that she doesn't know about. So I bought one chocolate donut, and it was ours to share. And we shared that in the car. And that is a heck of a treat for her and I. So I'm dicing up this onion. I don't know if I'm slow or fast. You do get used to doing things the more you do them. So, you know, I chopped off the front, not the hairy top, right? Because when you chop off the hairy top, then it all opens up and falls apart. So I chopped off the top, cut it in half, peeled it back a bit, and now I'm putting some slices in it so that I can then cut this way and have small pieces of onion to mix in with the spinach, and then some feta cheese. I also have some ricotta cheese. And so some people prefer this made with ricotta, some with feta. I may wind up mixing in a bit of both. And the reason for that is feta is so salty, that if you mix it with the ricotta, you get less salt and a creamier texture to the outcome. That's kind of nice. I'm also going to be using a no salt butter to go over the sheets of phyllo before I put it all together. Oh, let me turn the oven on. heat up the frying pan, get that ready behind me. This sounds so exotic. Ooh, Spanakopita. And admittedly, it is a bit of work. The real work is in handling the phyllo dough, because it's delicate. And you'll see that as we move along here. So I've got my onions cut up. I'm grabbing some olive oil and putting that in the pan, which has been heating just a moment. Olive oil. And this is to grab the onions, transfer that to the pan. Pan isn't quite hot enough. We didn't hear any sizzle. However, you know, you don't need to get everything 100% right when you're cooking. You really don't. You get to experiment, you get to have fun, and you see how it turns out. And then if you have a memory left, we're all getting older. If you have a memory left, you remember that for next time, and just alter the recipe a bit. So it's always a work in progress for me, no matter what we make. This is one garlic clove. It's a pretty big one, about an inch, a couple centimeters, depending on which scale you're on. Chopping that up. We do have a garlic press, which is convenient for pressing the garlic, saves some time from all this cutting. But the flip side is, then I got to clean the thing, and I find that to be a pain. So I'm just as happy chopping up the garlic with a knife. And I'm going to put that in the onions now. Some people would say it's too soon, that the garlic is going to burn. And I'm just not cooking it that long or that hard that I'm worried about that. Clean my knife. This is, let's see. Woo! This is frozen chopped spinach. I like that it's chopped, because it mixes in and blends in so much easier. Let's see here. So much easier than if it's whole spinach. So these are my cheats, if you will. And I have this onion on a somewhat higher temperature because I'm not going to slow cook the onion. I'm going to more fast cook it because I don't want to do this all afternoon. I want to get through this. So again, you know, some chefs, and I'm not a chef, I'm just a home-style cook. Some chefs will tell you to slow cook the onions so they don't burn. But meanwhile, here I am cooking them on a slightly higher heat, and they are already frying up. There's already a bit of color, hard to see from there, I don't know. Already a bit of color showing on that, which is good. Because like I said, I don't want to be doing this all afternoon. There's a Jewish word that I think can apply to this particular meal that we're cooking today. Let's see if I can bring the camera in a little closer. That better? Let's see here. All right. It's ingapachka. That is a Jewish concept. How do I describe ingapachka? It's a pain in the rear end. It is fussy. It is, you got to play with it a lot. It takes more time, bit of effort. It's ingapachka. And so this recipe is ingapachka. You play with it. So the onions are slowly cooking in nicely. And honestly, in this recipe, the Spanakopita, I want to be able to taste the onions. I don't want them melted away. So I thawed the chopped spinach, and now I'm getting rid of some of the water in it. I'm getting rid of a lot of water. It's almost all water, this stuff. It's just, I'm squeezing it out, but you got to be careful because you don't want to lose the actual spinach. So I'm squeezing carefully to get the water out while not losing the spinach. And, some people will put it in a strainer. I could have put it in a strainer and then squeezed it in the strainer. I've done that before. But then I'm dirtying one more thing, right? And like I said, I'm a little lazy today, even though this is an ingapachka meal. So here it goes. I've gotten out a ton of the water. And I'm going to open up the bag and put it in with our onions and garlic. There we go. It comes in 2 chunks. And now I'm going to mix that in. So the spinach cooks down a bit. That water tends to come out of it as it's cooking. And it helps the onions keep from caramelizing or burning, actually, because I have it up a little high. And that's just one of my secret cheats to doing this a little quicker. Getting the spinach in and letting that be a buffer for cooking the onions. Magic, huh? All right. So that is sitting in the frying pan. Now I'm going to turn the heat down really low. Happens to be a very hot element, so low on this hot element still has quite a bit of punch. Clean my work area. There we go. There we go. Remember, I'm a clean as you go person. Oh. Get rid of that. Paper towel, wipe off that cutting board. All right. Now, it is about, where am I throwing that? I gotta watch that because this really is a hot element compared to the other elements on this stove. So even though it's on low, it's cooking at a good rate. Okay, I'm going into the fridge here. I am pulling out some ricotta cheese and some feta cheese. Some people will use an egg. Some people will not use an egg. I am going to use an egg. Voila. And you know what? Do what you want. You don't want to use eggs? Don't use an egg. And I got news for you. It'll work just as well. It'll work just as well. All right, so here's the feta. This is Kirkland code for Costco. It was the best price, really. I'm going to turn this off now because I think that's cooked enough and I don't want it to burn when I'm not paying attention. Nice onion bits and spinach bits. Arlene told me earlier that the previous version I made of this was too salty. And that's really because of the feta. So I'm going to take my feta and I'm going to rinse it. It comes in a brine, a very salty brine. So if you rinse that off, you're better off. And I'm crumbling it into this bowl. Crumble, crumble, crumble. This is I think a 2 kilogram. Let's see here. 1.2 kilogram package of feta, and it came in 4 or 5 or 6 large slices, maybe 4 or 5. Anyways, we've used one of the thick slices of this feta in other meals. So I'm using what's left. So I'm guessing 3/4 of a kilo of feta. And I'm just breaking that up into this bowl. And remember what I said, we wanted it to be not as salty. We want it to be creamy. Do break it up. Have some fun. Massage your feta. Gotta be nuts. I remember, I forget the name of this comedian. His bit was to pretend he was an alcoholic. I don't think he really was. And he used to slur, he'd go, "This show is called Cooking with Wine. Not because we use wine in any of the recipes, but we cook under the influence of wine." And there he would carry on. Somebody may remember that. And you know what? In the comments, leave his name. That would be awesome. So I'm going to get rid of the rest of the brine. That just goes down the sink. I found another slice of feta at the bottom of that brine. So I'm going to break it up and put it in. You never know. You never know what you're going to find anywhere. That was funny. All right. So that's broken up and in. I'm going to rinse my hands, put some ricotta in, an egg, mix it all together. My hands are so slippery right now from the cheese. That is probably the fat content causing it to feel slippery. And this is 11% ricotta cheese. I love ricotta. My hands are so slippery I can't take the plastic off. Let's see. There we go. Worked it back. Grab a spoon. You know, this isn't like the standard cooking shows where the chef has a bunch of minions who are grabbing everything on their behalf. So I've put in about a cup of ricotta. It's a very smooth, plain, milky tasting cheese. It's nice. There's a sweetness to ricotta. At least there is for my tastes. Now the other thing I like to add is lemon zest. I've washed the lemon. I've got my zester here. And I'm adding a bunch of lemon zest to this mix. It just, I don't know, it gives a bounce to the flavor. It's so good. By the way, you can look up on, Mr. Google, the Googlies, any number of Spanakopita recipes. And I've probably looked at several over the years. And what you're getting is my synthesis, how I now put it together. So that is, for me, the zest of almost a whole lemon. And got the egg. Throw that in. Remember that song? Put the lime in the coconut and mix it all together. So now I'm mixing up the egg so that when it blends in, it'll smooth in a bit. I'm going to mix it around. Mix the ricotta in with that. And already just the smells of the onion, the what's it called? Spinach, garlic in there. And now the lemon and the cheese in here. It already has such a lovely fragrance in the room. It's great. And for sure, this isn't going to be as salty as the last time I made this. Which Arlene pointed out. So that's good. That's good. She's my taste tester. Breaking up those chunks of ricotta. And now I'm going to mix in spinach, onion, and feta. It's still a little hot, but remember what I said. I'm kind of pushing through this. I don't care. It'll still be good. Ooh, that is nice and steamy. All flavor. All flavor. And so the coolness of the cheese is going to take the temperature down on this. I got a ton here. And when you make your Spanakopita, you have choices as to what you want to do with the dough. You can make small little triangles, individual pieces, almost like appetizer size. You can make what is it, a 9 by 12? Those glass pans. You can put it together in a dish like that. So there's all these different strategies that you can use for putting together your Spanakopita so that you can serve it as a big piece or as individual pieces. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Small little pieces or one big one. Remember what I said. I'm kind of lazy today. This is me being lazy. Whipping through this. Now, can you see that? It's all mixing together beautifully. The onion, garlic, spinach mixture, the egg, the lemon zest, and then ricotta as well as feta cheese from Costco. Now, I have to taste this. I have to taste this. It's beautiful. And you know what? I'm not going to salt it. I'm not going to salt it. But what I am going to do is, let me see here. I use 2 spices. I'm going to put in some lovely ground cinnamon. I don't know how much I just put in. 1/4 a teaspoon, 1/2 a teaspoon. And the other thing I'm going to do is, and I'm going to have to clean my grater for this. I'm going to put in some fresh nutmeg. I'm cleaning my grater. I'm going to have to dry it, otherwise it won't go through. I put nutmeg in. And again, I don't know if I actually saw this in a recipe somewhere, or I just thought that this combination would lift the flavor. So here I am, grating a nutmeg, and I would say that's around 1/4 of a nutmeg. It doesn't take much. Nutmeg is so potent. Now I'm going to mix all this in, and then I'm going to taste it again. You have to taste it. Otherwise, how do you know if you've got enough of anything? Oh, I did want to put some pepper, black pepper in. So this is mixing up nicely. This is going to be such a good meal. It is vegetarian. Obviously, it is not vegan. You know what? If you wanted it to be vegan, I think you could substitute the cheese with tofu and have a tofu-inspired Spanakopita. And I also think that instead of using butter, as you're going to see me do on the sheets of phyllo dough, you could just use an oil, an olive oil. So you could make, from my perspective, you can make this vegan. So what do you think? For those who are so inclined. This is just, black pepper. Throw that in, mix it in. You know, you hear about making some of these things and it sounds so complex, so mysterious. It just isn't. You're just following along, doop-de-doop-de-doop, adding what the necessary things are, step by step. You can do it. Try. Just try. All right, so I'm curious as to how mixed this stuff is and whether or not I've got enough of these other spices. I'm just going to take some off. The nutmeg, it's almost like an aftertaste. It's there in the back to speak to you. Now, believe it or not, it still tastes salty. So I am going to blend in some more ricotta. I'm supposed to watch my salt intake. Let me rinse this off because I've licked it. So Arlene, in commenting about the salt, it's as much for my health as for her taste. So I've just added about a half a cup more of that ricotta, just to dilute, if you will, the feta. And yeah, I'm just going to mix that in because I'm kind of satisfied with the other flavors. And ricotta doesn't have a powerful flavor, so it'll just extend, if you will, the feta. Here we go. Makes it a little creamier as well. What do you think? Looks like something you can do? I'd say so. I'd say so. All right. I'm going to taste it again. Whoops. Grab a hunk. That made a difference. Just that much ricotta. It took away some of the saltiness. Oh, that's so nice. And with the lemon zest in there, it just, gives it a citrus note as well. Move that out of the way. Wipe up a bit. Okay. Excuse me a moment. My nose was running. You didn't need to see me blow my nose. But you do need to see me wash my hands from blowing my nose. I do my best to keep it clean in the kitchen. Okay. Going to set that aside. Going to get some unsalted butter and cut a hunk off and melt it. There's a big hunk. That's a ton. I never know how much I'm actually going to need. I'm putting it in a kind of a deep bowl because I'm throwing it in the microwave. And I'm going to give it 25 seconds because we need it melted. Now, let's find some space. I have to decide how I'm going to handle this phyllo. And can you see if I'm working here? Yes, you can see that on camera. The butter's quite melted enough. Give it another 18 seconds. 18 seconds. Not 17, not 19, 18. Whatever. And look at this phyllo. It's in really good shape. The last time I made this, truth is, I just so seriously botched it. These are how many pieces? I have 2 pieces here. And what do I want to do? You know what? Let's have some fun. I'm going to cut it. Just run the knife down, cut it in half. And there we go. And cut that in half. So I've just cut it into quarters. Those sheets, there's 2 sheets. They're cut into quarters. I don't know if you can pick that up on the camera or not. So they're each, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 inches across. And I'll show you the trick. Check my butter, got the butter. I am looking for a something to, what do you call this? A brush. Now, what else do I want? Cookie sheet. Turn the oven on to bake 400. Hit start. You know, if I had a staff, they could prep all this stuff for me. But the truth of the matter is, you see everything that truly goes into putting this together. And I kind of think that's better. So I've got parchment paper on a baking sheet. So that is ready and in place. I've got my butter ready and in place. I'm going to put the rest of this butter in the fridge. If I need it, I will get more. That's gone away. Let's see here. Bring back the mixture. And we start splashing around. So I am brushing. Sorry, you can't see that, can you? I'm brushing butter on to these strips of phyllo pastry. That's where half the flavor comes from, by the way, and why it tastes so good. It has all this butter, oil, whatever you want to use. If you're vegan, go with a nice olive oil. Give it, you know, everything you use should have some flavor. That's my thinking. All right. So we've got that. I will use the spoon, and I'm going to spoon a little bit on there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going kind of kitty corner. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? I folded it kind of off the corner. Then I go up. Can you see that? Then off to the side again. And then up and over. And we've got a triangle. A beautiful Spanakopita. It's more than bite size, the way I've made them. Let's see if I can do this again, if I can zoom in on this a bit. Let's see. Bear with me. I want you to catch this. This is neat. So you take a heaping spoonful, put it on your pastry, fold it over to the corner, like on the diagonal. You see that? It's folded over on the diagonal. Then you flip it over. Then it winds up going on the diagonal again. And you flip it over and on the diagonal again. And there you have it. And it seals itself. Okay? And I started with 2 full sheets. And I'm just going to continue. And you know what? You're going to get a feel for how much filling is appropriate. So the first one I made, I kind of thought, it's leaking out. It's a bit too much. So the next one was a little less. You'll get a feel for that. Don't worry about it. And over, up, and it is sealed. And so I have 3 of these sitting here beside the bowl right now. Here comes a 4th. And so, you know, we can serve 2 or 3 or 4 of these in a serving along with a side salad. Greek salad would be nice. And then you have a wonderful meal of Spanakopita and salad. Oh, you know what? I am thrilled. having done this a number of times successfully and unsuccessfully, this is working. I'm grabbing 2 more sheets. And I'm going to cut them in half down the center. And then each of those halves in half. So I have 4 strips again. Ah, this is actually working. Yay! Butter them up. You're lovely. You're nice. See, I'm buttering it up. That's a dad joke. It's too corny. I'll stop. So you can see this now. This is working. Still getting used to this camera stuff. And there we go. There we go. I will butter the ones that I've made because they aren't buttery on the outside, and that helps with the browning and the crisping. Beautiful. Grab a scoop. Put in the filling. I want a bit more. These are kind of jumbo triangles. You can do whatever you want. Fold that over, red rover, let Spanakopita come over, and over. Beautiful. Do another. That's a lot of filling, but it's going to be so tasty. That's the thing. That is a thick one. And over, and that way, and up top, and there we go. That is a thicka. This one, maybe a little less. This is such a treat. It is so good. And look, you see how fast I'm doing this whole meal, or this whole thing of Spanakopita, kind of a start to finish thing. And it's going to taste great. It really is. This piece, that one went into my mouth. You couldn't see it, but I'm telling you. And these are wrapping just perfectly. I'm actually proud of myself. I'm going to rinse my hands and so I can adjust the camera again so we can see each other as I cook. There we go. Hello. And I keep grabbing 2 sheets. I think I grabbed 2 sheets. Oops, I grabbed more than 2. Grab 2 sheets at a time. You gotta be so careful. This stuff, I've ripped those ones. They are so delicate that, you know, when you're handling them, you kind of have to be careful. You know, if you rip them as I did, and I'll show you when I get to those next sheets, you gotta use them a little differently. You gotta change your strategy because you're not going to wrap up the way these ones did. So over and then up, over, and it locks the stuffing in as you wrap that up. It's awesome. And by the way, you don't need to make Spanakopita as I am with a cheese and spinach stuffing. Do some ground beef. Make some ground beef. Add some lovely spices to it. And have a ground beef in phyllo. Add some spices, add some, what are they called? Carrots and peas into that mixture. Whatever Mediterranean spices that you would like to use to give it flavor. And use that as your stuffing with the phyllo pastry. And that's fantastic too. So I'm slowly working my way through all this filling. I didn't know, and I still don't know, did I make too much filling? Did I make not enough? Am I going to have a bunch left over and not enough pastry to go around? It's like, I kind of don't care. If there is left over, let me tell you, that will go beautifully in an omelet. That would be the stuffing for an omelet. Now, this is torn down the middle. So instead of making my strips this way, I'm going to make my strips lengthwise to accommodate where I had some holes. And it will still be good. These will wind up being, that's my oven telling me it's hot. These will wind up being a little bit smaller. However, it's as if there will be more dough because it winds up wrapping more times, which is fine. So this will be a crispier one, more doughy Spanakopita. So they almost look the same size, by the way, but they're not. And take that. Take that. Again, I used way too much, but I don't care because it will eventually get folded in on itself and sealed, and it is. And if a little leaks out, I've never claimed to be perfect. So I'm okay with that. You know, I'm not a restaurant. This is home cooking. That's enough. This is home cooking. And so home style cooking can look more rustic. These are going to be, you know what I didn't do? I didn't butter them before I started putting these ones together. Oh well, like I don't care. They'll still be good. They'll still be tasty. I will butter them on the outside. They'll still be good. But you know, this is what I mean. It's rustic. It's homemade. We don't need perfection. What we do need is flavor. And these will have flavor in spades. Move that out of the way. Grab a couple more sheets. Now, what other chefs will tell you is that in between, what is going on here? That one's ripped as well. They're drying out. I think that is too. They're drying out somewhat, which can happen because I haven't been putting the towel back on in between. So I'm going to be making these ones lengthwise as well. This time I'm going to remember to put some butter on. How much butter, you ask? Up to you. How rich do you want it? Butter is a flavor, as well as helping this crisp up. But is it good for your health necessarily? Yeah. So I'm putting it on, but I'm not pouring it on. I'm smearing it somewhat lightly myself. And again, every cook will have their own version. And that is what makes home cooking wonderful and unique. Look how beautifully all this is going. Look, if you're watching this whole video, bless you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Maybe you don't have a life if you're watching this whole thing. Or maybe I'm doing it better. And I've captured your attention and imagination. This is, you know, I've done this, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 times in my life. And honestly, this is the smoothest that it's gone. And it's just, in truth, it's just the practice effect. My mother, she passed away last December. I remember as a kid watching her make this. Remember that word I used, that phrase, Inga Puchka? Oh my goodness, when she did it, it's like the whole kitchen was involved. She would have that phyllo well covered in between her using the sheets. My mother was a good cook. She was a good cook. We have a number of her recipes kicking around. Arlene has learned to make a cookie. It's called Mandelbrot. Arlene, what's the Italian version of Mandelbrot? Biscotti. I don't know if you heard her. Biscotti. So think of Mandelbrot. Okay, that's better. I got that in one piece, but how many pieces do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got too much. I'm going to put those over there. Yeah, my mom would make Mandelbrot, the Jewish version of biscotti. And they were an absolute favorite of mine. Arlene is the keeper of that recipe, and she will make them periodically. When my mom would make them, it was almost like she had to hide them from me. And sometimes she'd give me a batch to take over to our son or to my brother. And whenever she gave me a batch for them, I just forgot to butter this one again. So I'm going to throw some butter here at the end. Whenever she would make a batch and ask me to be the deliverer, they never made it. They never made it. I would abscond with the Mandelbrot. And periodically, my son or my brother would learn what I've done. And I'd get in trouble. And when I say I get in trouble, I don't mean as a child. This is within, before she passed away at this age. Oh my goodness, we had so much fun. We would laugh. This isn't something that, what am I doing? I'm finishing this. This isn't something for which there would be a grudge and sibling rivalry and conflict. This would be our in-family joke. So if they were here, trust me, they'd be stealing the Mandelbrot without my knowing it, so that they could whisk it away. And that's just what we did as a family. And it was all with love. This is good. We'll see. I don't know if I'll have any left over or not. And like I said, who cares? Because this will go beautifully in a omelet. This filling. Just beautifully. I got these things hanging out all over the place here. My oven is turned on to 400 degrees. It is ready for this to go in. I don't remember how long it takes to cook. I'm guessing anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. But you keep an eye on it, and you're looking for a golden brown color. It isn't rocket science. Okay, now, again, these ones are kind of torn in the middle, so I'm going lengthwise in my cuts with this batch. Again, sharp knife, you draw it across, it slices the phyllo pastry, easy peasy. There are 2 sheets kind of stuck together per Spanakopita. Down here, there's 2 sheets, not just one. And then I'm rolling them up. And by the way, you can do this in other shapes. Maybe I'll show you one on the next one. You know how you can go into the stores where they have prepared foods, hot prepared foods? You can see the pinwheels with this stuff. Spanakopita pinwheels. I don't know what they call them. They may not call them that. Spanakopita, but I'll show you what we can do. We can make a pinwheel instead of these triangles. You can make squares. You can do whatever you want to do. All right, I got way too much on this one. And it's a smaller strip. Yeah, I just licked my fingers. Awkward. Get under there. Not everything is going to go perfectly. This is, come on. This is a delicate kind of operation, admittedly. Inga Pachka. Who cares? You'll do the best you can. All right, that's enough. And, you know, I don't know how many I've done here already. I've done a ton. You get into the groove, and then you just keep going. You kind of get used to it. You get a rhythm, and they go. Yeah, it was fun with my mom. She was like a good friend of mine. Today happens to be a Saturday as I'm putting this together, and it wouldn't be uncommon for my mother and I on a Saturday to go to garage sales. My mother had an antique store. She was an antique dealer. And so we would hit the garage sales and we'd still be looking for bargains. All right, so I'm pretty much at the end of this. Those are two pieces. There's barely a piece left there. And I'm just going to show you another strategy for putting this stuff together. So I've left this sheet whole. This is one whole sheet. And I don't know, should I use a whole sheet? Should I make it into two? Like, some of this is just guesswork. And I think I am going to make it into two. So I'm going to cut it down the middle, lengthwise, and I'll show you. I'm going to move that forward a bit. Keep this here. And I'm going to take this filling and I'm going to spread it along the length. I hope you can see that on camera. I don't know. It's, like I said, still learning all this stuff. So I'm spreading that the length of the dough all the way down. And then what we're going to magically do, enjoy your food, play with it. All right, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to roll it up. So I have this log that I am rolling of our mixture in the phyllo pastry. There we go. That's a nice log. And now it's not working. I'm trying to make it into a pinwheel. And I'm making a bit of a mess. I don't care. Some of it is going to leak out when it's cooking. There you go. You can see that. But who cares? And now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again with this piece. I think I'll use a little less filling, because I think that was part of the problem. A little less filling and spread it out. And then we're going to roll it up. Doop-de-doop-de-doo. And roll. Tuck it under and roll that log. There. And now I'm going to try and make a better pinwheel. Hold it as I am turning it. It's all looser with less filling, and it is turning into a tighter pinwheel. Let me just come show you. See? There you go. That's the bottom. That's the top. Now we got to cook all of this. We have to cook all of this. So, how do I want to do this? I'm going to move this over. I'm going to put that there. We have a little bit of leftover of the mixture, and that is going to go into some omelets for tomorrow. I'm going to clean this work spot. All right. There we go. Now let's see if it will all fit on one cookie sheet. And if it doesn't, who cares? I have another cookie sheet. So I'm going to take these triangles, put some butter top and bottom, put it on the sheet. Take a triangle, put some butter on it, top and bottom, put it on the sheet. And by the way, I'm making a mess of my hands. They are so greasy right now with the butter because I'm using my hands. Hands can be washed. Hands can be washed. And I'm fitting these nicely onto the cookie sheet. And I'm using parchment paper because I find it doesn't stick so much. And I'm trying to fit these triangles. It's like Tetris, if you remember that old video game. This is like Tetris. Let's see. Yes, that is going together. I told Arlene what I was doing today, and I think she was surprised, as it is messy. And it's Inga Pachka. If you learn anything today, forget the cooking. Remember the Jewish phrases. I'm so excited by this. I can't wait to taste these. And all these triangles. We just keep going. Looks like I probably made enough butter. Maybe too much. That's okay, because whatever's left over, I can stick into a little dish and back into the fridge. And can use it for something else. Well, it's not like I was wasting it. Parchment sliding around. Oh. Just reposition. Get that right. I will check the box that the phyllo came in to see what it says in terms of cooking instructions. There we go. What a mess. Remove that. There we go. And, you know, you're just going to do the best job you can. This isn't about rocket science. It's about just play with it. Have fun. Play with your food. Now, this isn't a great dish to include little kids on because it is delicate. And so the phyllo dough can easily rip apart, and that can be frustrating to a child. So just know that this is more of an adult endeavor. Maybe if you have a teenage child who wants to help, or a child who has already some good hand-eye coordination and can be delicate, then yes. But otherwise, just be mindful that this takes some effort. Okay, I'm going to put this tray. I'm going to wash my hands, rearrange the trays, slide it into the oven, load up another tray, and we'll get it cooking. And when I come back, we'll have a taste. See you in a bit. All right, welcome back. My timer has gone off. These have been in roughly 30 minutes at 400 degrees. And I got 2 cookie sheets full. The other one is still cooking a bit. And here they are, like hot out of the oven. And wowzers. So we're going to let those cool a bit. Then I'm going to come back. I'm going to dig in. See you soon. Okay, I think they've cooled enough, and let's just see. Yeah. So I want to show you that they're not perfect. Let's see if I can zero in a bit. There you go. They're not perfect. Few of them have broken through, so the filling expanded and broke through the phyllo. And remember what I said, we're having fun in the kitchen. We're not turning it into rocket science. Some things will work, some things won't work. And here's my learning. Next time, let's see here. Next time I do this, I will likely use a little less filling in each Spanakopita. Little less filling, and I won't roll them as tightly. I'll roll them loosely, so as the filling expands, as it cooks, it won't rip through. Now, most importantly, we have to test one. I'm going to test a broken one, and even though it's broken, can you see that? It holds together. It's still hot, by the way, but let's see. It's my best batch in terms of flavor. It's not my best batch because some of them, broke through. But who cares? This is part of being rustic. This is part of home cooking. They don't have to be perfect. They just have to be delicious. And they are. So, thanks for joining in with this episode of Let's Get Cooking, Spanakopita. You learned a Jewish phrase, ingapachka, meaning it's kind of fussy, takes a little bit of work to get this going. And cheers. Arlene, come and get it.